Zoloft and get your head right.
Oh, look out, baby. It's time for the Zoloft. It's time for your hump day dose of Head Right up in the Head Right hangout, man. How y'all doing? I hope your week is going by groovily. Is that a word? It is today.
Yes.
All right, so okay, so thank you guys for coming to hang out in the Zoloft, man. And what do we got today that we're gonna try to talk about as I sat upon my desk throne and studied and got the news of the week or whatever and then flushed. All right, so let's look at, got the evil eye. The woman gave me the evil eye. How dare you talk about being in the latrine? Doing a number. Never mind. Okay, so this is what we're gonna try to get to today, y'all. Let me try to get serious. I'm not good at either.
Tom Jensen says, do what now?
What you talking about, cuz? Okay. And thank you guys. I hope I didn't do it again. Did I do it again? Hold on. I gotta make sure of something. Oops. Let me hit the live button on the Instagrams.
Oh.
Actually, it's kind of a good thing. It's like I spared them my awkward attempts at potty humor, and so the rest of y'all had to suffer through that. I'll spray. Okay. So anyway, back to the news at hand, if you will. We're gonna try to talk about this so-called bishop, this woke bishop. On The View, her attack on Trump was meant to bring unity. Mm-hmm. Okay. Trump responds to inappropriate far-left so-called bishop. She and her church owe the public an apology. All right. 22 states sue to block Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. We got an outrage here. Many J6 hostages will still not being released from woke DC jail. Just in, far-left DA seeks to bring state charges against January 6 prisoners. Trump State Department tells embassies and outposts, fly stars and stripes only, no more pride or BLM flags. Oops. Whoops. Yeah. U.S. departs from the World Health Organization. That's got to suck for like the Who, like the band. You know, every time the Who comes up, it's like, man, they got to be a. Because I'm always thinking, the Who. Oh, never mind.
Right.
The Who? Cutting off predatory global oligarchy that has destroyed public health for billions. And Senate Democrats block legislation to save lives of babies who survived botched abortions. Well. Okay, let's back it on up, man. And this is going to come from Not the Bee. Let's see what this article is going to say here. You can tell that the prayer, the editorial is going to say, you can tell that the prayer at yesterday's National Cathedral ceremony was totally non-partisan and unbiased. By the way, the bishop, quote unquote, is being called to make the media rounds. Detecting a little bit of sarcasm in there. Here's the views. Joy Behar praising the bishop, Buddy, the bishop, Bud, okay, for her courage in slamming Trump during this prayer. Okay, so if you guys want to go ahead and suffer by watching Joy Behar pander to this woman and all that sort of stuff, and they stroke each other as far as this goes, feel free to watch it. Joy is basically saying, you seem to have more fearlessness than anyone in Congress right now, ma'am. I hope they maybe in the green room or something like that, or maybe before they went on, they made it sure that, what her pronouns are, and it's okay to address her as ma'am. What made you decide to use that opportunity for this message, and did you have any apprehension about it? Okay, let's first address this whole thing about fearlessness. Okay, as I've said before, y'all, this whole narrative about accepting or being allied with or being homosexual or transgender and all that sort of stuff, There's no bravery in that. Okay, you're not strong in your acceptance of it. You are weak in your submission to it. That's the fact. All right. This woman is not brave. She's a coward. She's afraid of the truth. Okay. She's afraid of recognizing God for who he says he is. So she's basically made up some idol and gave herself a position in this idolatry of this engraven image that she calls God, violating the commandment to not take his name in vain and violating the commandment to not shape an image. All right, is exactly what she's doing. And this woman has been given the bishophood. All right, so all of this stuff is in error because she's too much of a coward to recognize God for who he says he is and what he calls sin. So, her, standing on that podium was not an act of bravery. It was, and she stood up there, and we're thinking that this is supposed to be unity. This isn't unity. It's not even diversity. It's perversity, really.
Yeah. Is
what all this stuff is, and she wants us to be united under perversion. No. This right here, her talking about the more fearless than anyone in Congress is like, no, the Bible talks about people like this who will not inherit the kingdom. Okay, you read Revelation, you'll see it. Cowards, which is what she is. She's too much of a coward. Let these people know that they are in error. She's too much of a coward to let these people know that they are sinning against God. She's a coward. All right, and cowards will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And we say this in truth and love. I'm not trying to say this to hurt this woman. Trying to tell her to saying this to help with her getting connected with God according to who he says he is, so that her soul may be saved. So anyway, Bud responds. Okay, that's her name, Bud. I thought she was like Buddy, whatever. Booty. Like Booty Judge. So what's up, Booty? My responsibility that morning was to pray with the nation for unity. We didn't do that. And as I was pondering what are the foundations of unity, no, you weren't. I wanted to emphasize respecting the honor and dignity of every human being, basic honesty and humility. Okay, so let's back that up. The foundations of unity. Well, the foundation of unity is the Lord himself. Okay, he is the unifying factor. As I've said 1,000 times, being that Yeshua is our high priest and king, he's of Levitical lineage, as well as the royal line of Judah and descendant in the house of David. That being said, the word or the name Levite refers to attachment, connecting, togetherness, unified, right? That's what the name Levi pertains to. So these things have to be unified in him, according to who Yeshua says he is. Woman, you're making up this idea of who Jesus is. If you're even including him, this ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. It ain't got nothing to do with him. Okay, and even the Lord says, man, y'all can be talking about how you pray with me and cast out demons and all that sort of stuff. Lord, Lord this and Lord, Lord that. And the Lord's like, man, I don't know you. And hey, booty, get your booty away from Jesus, because that's what he would tell you. He would say, you need to get away from me. I don't know you. I don't know where you come from. Where are you coming from with this? So this woman is in total error. So this foundation that she's talking about, it's a foreign foundation. I wanted to emphasize on respecting the honor and dignity of every human being. Oh, really? I bet you pro-abortion. I bet you are. Right? So you're already lying about that. Why you talk about honesty? Respecting the honor and dignity. There's no dignity. If we're talking about homosexuality, there's no dignity in being confused about how this biology works. Okay, there's no dignity in a man submitting to another man for sex. There's no dignity in that. There's no dignity in women who feel that they want to be equal or anything like that, but want to behave like these evil men, or being given over to the desire that's natural to a man and express that towards another woman. There's no dignity in that. You're total contrary to your feminist narrative. You talk about how you don't want men to have dominion over you, but yet you are letting the desires of a man take command over your libido, over your sexuality, over your body. You have let a man dominate you from within as you express your desires towards another woman. You are already in error of your own narrative. So there is no dignity in that. What are you talking about? Or whether you're talking about a person wanting to come here against our laws and assume that they're just going to come in and reside in our country. There's no dignity in that. Okay, because it's illegal. It's when you have these people, how can there be dignity? Because they want to maintain pride or their patriotism for the country that they left from, but they want to be here. Why? Because the place that they left is basically they can't thrive there, despite this pride that they have for where they were. Okay, they want to be here. Where's the dignity in that? It's an admission that the place that you come from it sucks. Okay, so she's talking about all this honor and dignity and honest and stuff like that. Woman, you have yet to be honest with yourself and honest with anybody else. All right, and honestly, you shouldn't be bishop.
Yeah.
How about that? So let's see what else is okay. Unity requires Booth says unity requires a certain degree of mercy and compassion and understanding. Okay, yeah. And your understanding of the scriptures is way out perverted. Mercy is not shown by letting people do whatever they want. Okay, you have a totally twisted idea about what mercy is. Okay, mercy is how do you think the Lord demonstrates mercy? I mean, I reckon you're kind of hung up on this New Testament Jesus that you've kind of shaped in your own image and stuff like that. Obviously, you didn't read the whole thing, because Jesus in the New Testament, like when he comes back, is going to make himself in the Old Testament, because he's always been God, look like himself in the Old Testament, look like he was in a really much better mood even back then. Okay, so Jesus' mercy is shown by taking action against wicked people. All right, which he has done and which he will do again. Okay, you can't just do whatever you want. You can't just just bypass the law or be as much of a pervert as you want and identify as whatever you want. These things, they affect other people. It's not merciful to just let people do whatever they want. Okay, and that's where you are. Jesus is not some all-accepting hippie who just lets people get away what they want. If he was that, he would have just stayed on the throne. Oh, go ahead and do you. I accept you. Just go ahead and do whatever. You have my mercy. Just go ahead and do whatever. He didn't do that. All right, he came here and basically said, over my dead body, are you bringing this nonsense into my kingdom? That includes you, booty. All right, you ain't bringing this nonsense into my kingdom. That's my mercy to those who actually follow me for who I say I am. I am going to keep them away from nuts like you, complicating the kingdom. I ain't gonna let it happen. That's my mercy to those who follow me, who truly follow me. And that ain't you. I hope that you will receive the Lord's peace and truth and follow him according to who he says he is. She says, I wanted to take the opportunity to say, we want to treat everyone with dignity and be merciful. And I was trying to counter the narrative that is so divisive and polarizing. Okay, once again, you obviously don't know Jesus for who he says he is. You refuse to understand Yeshua for who he says he is. Even though Yeshua is, once again, a Levite, which means to connect, which means togetherness, which we're talking about unity. He's the one who connects. He is our connector to God. He is God, right? He's the high priest of God, the visible aspect of the unseen God, right? But The Lord unifies those who follow him. That's who he unifies. Aside from that, the Lord himself, while you're trying to talk about this divisiveness and you're so anti-divisiveness, the Lord is going to be the one who divides, separates the wheat from the tares. He's going to divide the sheep from the goats. The Lord himself says, do not assume that I have come to bring peace. I come to bring a sword, and I will drive it between father-in-laws and fathers, between sons and mothers and daughters and in-laws, and you name it. If you are a stumbling block to these people, if you are going to teach them a narrative that is apart from me, I'm going to divide you. So yeah, Yeshua is quite divisive. And he will divide people from people like you. All right, so yeah, is there going to be a polarization to this stuff? Yeah. Yes, there is. You obviously have not read the word. You obviously don't know what it is to be sanctified, set apart. That's what the Lord does. There are going to be people who understand that what you're talking about is wrong. And we are apart from you. We do not want any part of you. So yeah, there's going to be division. It's supposed to be. We're not supposed to unite under this perversion that you're talking about. You are not supposed to rule over us with this. All right. So, all that being, look, what is this? See, I hope this nut didn't say anything else that I got to spend time on. Now, this also, comes to mind, y'all. Now, I guess maybe like this is like some sort of tradition or whichever. These are the kind of things that concern me, y'all, with the Trump administration. It's like, look, man, if you maybe did a little bit of homework or somebody in your administration or whichever, man, you know who's the bishop of this church, don't you? Why would you go there?
I think she's invited to the National Cathedral. She was invited the last time he had an inaugural week, so to speak.
Okay.
It's his national prayer breakfast in the Washington Cathedral.
Well, hey, if Michelle Obama can be like, I'm not going to go to the inauguration, Trump can be like, well, I'm not going to that church. Because the thing is, that's like a church where it's like anybody can come there and just, it's not a solid church.
Yeah, it's not a church. It's like a Washington Monument type place where they have all these different faith leaders come and do their blessings. Yeah,
you shouldn't have gone in there. Mm-hmm. It's not a place that is devoted to God.
Yeah.
That's not what that place is for. And but still, I reckon you had to know that she was going to be there.
I would think so. She was there the last time he did this.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that itinerary is like, when we do this is who's going to be given the blessing, if you will. Mm-hmm. Should have been like, I ain't doing it.
Yeah, he should have.
I'm not gonna. This woman ain't gonna speak no blessing, so-called blessing over what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I know people out there liking their red meat politics and stuff like that. This woman is this kind of stuff looks familiar as far as I can tell. Where the Lord is like, man, the relationship. You're not supposed to have this fellowship with darkness, sitting at the table with these people. Don't be sitting at the table and eating meat sacrificed to another god. It's like, because that's what these people are all about, man. Well, it wouldn't even be meat for them; it'd be beyond meat or something like that, or whichever. But the point is, these people are straight up godless. Mm-hmm. They're godless, Trump. Why would you go there? You didn't have to. All right, you bold in all these other areas. You could have made a bold move right here, and be like, you know what? No.
He doesn't have to follow this tradition.
Yeah, you ain't got to do it. You had to know, man. And now you want an apology from these people? No.
Yeah.
Don't expect an apology from these people. That's a waste of time.
Yep.
And a better move would be like, he's like, you know what? Sad part of it is I really don't know who I would recommend. Maybe you guys could recommend somebody out there. Trump should have been like, you know what? I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go find a church, an assembly and a speaker of that assembly. And we're gonna do it there. Let's have a prayer from somebody who follows God according to who he says he is.
Yeah, there was I don't know his first name, but he's a pastor, and he already did a blessing over the inauguration. His last name is Soul. I don't know if he's related to Thomas, so same spelling and everything.
Wow.
He was great, and Franklin Graham did a blessing over Trump. He's awesome. So
okay,
a number of people.
It's been done. So hopefully this witch can't undo it.
Right.
Because that's what she is. She's a witch. All right. The devil masquerades as an angel of light. Okay. What else we got here? Trump responds to inappropriate. Oh, okay. We got that. Sorry about that. 22 states sue to block Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. Let's read a little bit of that. Okay. All right. A coalition of attorneys, attorneys general, is seeking to block the president's order denying citizenship to children born of illegal immigrants and non-citizens. And before we go on, before I get too giddy, thank you guys for tuning in on the Instagrams. We got Jennifer, got Dreets, David Toppin, KViz 009, Bo Boher. Hope I didn't say y'all's names, botch you guys' name too bad. And I thank you guys for joining in on the YouTubes and on bronzeserpentmedia.com. You guys are the grooviest. Okay, so let me see, get further down in the article here. Come on. Oh, I guess that's it. Okay, a coalition. Yeah, we read that part. Okay, you guys get the gist. And I guess the thing that's going to be put on display here is going to be the 14th Amendment. Oh, how the left loves to evoke the 14th Amendment. And one could see how easy it is for them to do. But just like everything else, man, the left, the Democrats, they cherry pick something and they don't square it by full context. Okay, that's their problem. I understand that when you read the 14th Amendment, and you're going to read this first section of it, it's going to look it looks pretty cut and dry. It looks very cut and dry. It's prefaced by saying all persons. Well, how do you argue with that? How do you argue with this when it's going to tell you all persons? Well, there you go. But let's read the rest of it. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Operative word here being reside. No state shall make or enforce any law. And Republicans especially need to pay very, very close attention to this because they really get on my nerves with this state rights zealotry. I'm in the states' rights too, y'all. I am. But I don't think Republicans really understand the scope of that. I really don't. For your mainstream Republicans, few do. Like y'all here in the Zoloft, you do. But the majority of Republicans don't, including Donald Trump. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Okay, so once again, while the Republican voters want to wax expert on this right here to justify not having illegal immigrants coming in and voting and all that sort of stuff, and getting rid of anchor babies and all that sort of stuff. And I'm with you. Why is it that they can be such an expert on this but so ignorant to the rest of what it says? No state shall make or any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. So when you have Republicans out there saying we overturned Roe v. Wade and we put it back on the states where it belongs. Dude, you cannot in any state have a ruling, take it to the courts, or vote to deprive a person of their right to live. You can't do that. How can you be a Republican who is such an expert in the Constitution and an expert in this amendment right here and be like, this needs to go back to the states where it belongs, where they can decide on abortion? Why would you do that when it says clear that you can't? You can't do that in any state. You can't just deprive a person of their life because you voted on it or because of judicial fiat. You can't do that. But we need to turn it over back to the states' rights. Okay, whatever. You know, I guess, hey, maybe, like I said, maybe we should do the same thing about slavery too, right? Hey, and if you're in your state, if you want to have slavery, just have a vote on it. You can't do that. You can't deprive a person of their liberty without due process. See what I'm saying? So I just think it's kind of weird that Republicans, they're such experts when it comes to this, when it makes their case, you know, they're making their case concerning illegal immigrant and anchor babies and stuff like that, but could be totally oblivious or just refuse to see what the rest of it says concerning states' rights. But, you know, whatever. So all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction. Okay, and you guys know the rest. Listen. When we're talking about this law that the left wants to enjoy so they can make a voter stock out of these anchor babies that will grow up to voter age and stuff like that, and for the people who have them here and all that sort of good stuff, in order for you to enjoy this law where you have a child here and that child is an American citizen, you yourself have to have abided by the law in the first place. Okay, that's how that works. So this goes back to that so-called bishop when she's saying that we're supposed to welcome the foreigner, love the foreigner and stuff like that. She didn't read the rest of it. It doesn't work that way. Okay, the Israelites are to love the foreigner as the native born. Here's the thing. The native born of Israel are born under the law. If you're going to love the foreigner like the native born, those laws apply to the foreigner. The foreigner has to come in and assimilate to the law of the native born to be loved. All right. You can't just come in. You can't just come into the nation of Israel. You can't just do that. You have to accept the Constitution of Israel. And the Constitution of Israel is God himself. He is the law. And if you're a foreigner, you come in, you have to accept that. All right. And if you want the full citizenship, you got to go through circumcision and everything. You got to go through you got to go through all that. OK, so basically, if you come in, if you're a foreigner, well, she's trying to invoke God and invoke the scriptures to talk about loving the foreigner and all that sort of stuff. If you're a foreigner and you're going to come in order to be a full documented citizen there, you have to take the circumcision. If you try to go in and do the protocols of Israel without the circumcision, you're going to be in big trouble. You see what I'm saying? And you're lucky if you get deported. All right? So it's the same thing here. You can't just come into America any old way that you want to. You couldn't come into Israel and with the promised land any old way that you want to. You ain't getting into heaven any old way that you want to. All right. In order for you to enjoy this protection, you have to have abided by the law in the first place. You see what I'm saying? Remember that word we talked about, reside, as in a resident? Well, in order to be a resident of some place, you have to be documented. If you're going to be a resident of an apartment complex, you can't just like go ahead and just move in. you got to be registered there. All right. They got to know that you're there. There's some criteria that you got to go through before you can be a resident there. It's the same thing being a resident of a state. All right, you have to be documented, and there's channels that you got to go through to prove your citizenship. You know, your nationalization here. You have to do those things, and then when those things are covered, because that's when we're talking about all. It has to be taken into consideration that all people who are citizens of the United States, all people who are recognized by the law, who have abided by the law to be here. Okay, your parents had to be legitimate citizens of the United States. If you just invade our country, if you just come in here against the law and you have a child here, then those things are that citizenship is not afforded to your baby because you did not lawfully have your child here. Now, there are certain things that will be afforded to you. Okay, the child is not going to be put to death. The child is not going to be made a slave. The child is not going to be deprived of any aspect of whatever it is that they possess. Right now, all the child really possesses is its arms, its legs, and its organs. So basically, that child is not going to be treated like they do at Planned Parenthood. That kid is not going to be given over to have his limbs and his organs and stuff harvested or auctioned off or whichever, like they do at Planned Parenthood, selling off baby body parts. All right, that child is still going to have rights as a human being, but that child cannot stay here. So when they're trying to talk about they're going to separate these children from their families, no, he's not. The child and the families are going to be. They're going to be together as they are moved out. All right. And this witch who's going to try to make out like this wouldn't be the Christian thing to do. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Did not Adam and Eve get kicked out? They got kicked out of the garden, and there was a gate put up behind them, a guardian cherub with a hot sword, right? A drone sword, going back and forth. I dare you to try to come up in here, right? The Lord is like people go. He puts borders around things. The Lord himself says, look, man, if you try to come in any other way, aside from the front gate, which is me, I'm going to call you a criminal. The Lord put a border around the tabernacle. You cross this border around the tabernacle, you will be put to death. You approach my mountain. Here's the perimeter of my mountain. You approach this mountain. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. I will put you to death. Before y'all try to assume that God is not about borders. And you can approach anytime you can come on in anytime you want to. No, you can't. No, you cannot. You got to be documented. You got to have the right credentials. All right? That is the mercy of God. This is how God keeps order. All right? You got people who want to follow me. And we got a good thing going here, baby. And you can't just be easing up on here any way that you want to and messing up. My mercy is shown on them. Those who've understood that your way is wrong. What you think is wrong. How you live is wrong. They've come in from my way. And this is the unity that we got right here. That's real unity. And we ain't gonna have y'all coming up here and perverting it. I've divided these people from you. All right. So now also with this 14th Amendment thing, this is what folks need to understand, particularly on the left. The 14th Amendment was mainly concerning slavery. And it is in typical Democrat fashion, the ones who wanted to keep this imposition on black folks in the first place. We already had slavery, but Democrats wanted to keep slavery legal. They wanted to keep it going, and they were willing to fight a war for it, right? So the Democrats refused to recognize the personhood of black folks. Didn't want black folks they basically wanted them second-class citizens, if they recognized them as citizens at all. All right, they didn't recognize them as people. So the thing is, you had Democrats who imposed this plight, and they use that plight to this very day to get sympathy votes for whatever narrative they want. They use the black community for whatever Democrats are trying to do. That's what Republicans refuse to understand. Okay, they don't understand this. It's not like black folks innately think these things. Democrats they herd black folks. They have command over most of the black community from their birth. If they're able to get past the abortion clinic, okay. But once they're old enough to walk and stuff like that, they want them in them preschools. Mm-hmm. They want to be conditioning the way they think from there. And that's why you have black folks who are just in the pocket of the Democrat Party, because the Democrat Party has latched onto them, and they keep the strongest hold on them. because they use them to get sympathy votes for anything else. They bring up the plight of the black man as if America is the country that did it to them when it was actually them. They bring up that plight to get sympathy votes for anything else. Doesn't matter if it's economic issues, social issues, gay issues, transgender, flipping immigration, all that sort of stuff. Oh, the immigrants are going to be treated like with the Jim Crow laws. Where you think they get that from? Because of what they did to black people in the first place. They did that. All right. So you're going to have with this right here, the 14th Amendment was like, look, man. The slaves, there's a big difference between slavery and illegal immigration. I hope folks can understand this, right? I reckon here at the Zoloft, y'all already know what's up. But the thing is, they had to make this amendment because the blacks that were here and having babies, okay, having kids, they're not being treated as citizens. And we're talking about freed slaves even. You know, people, they're free. They're free men and women now. Okay, they're free. But they're still not recognized as free people. They're not recognized. The Democrats don't want to recognize that. These are Democrats, y'all. Remember, these are Democrats. They do not want to recognize them as people. They do not want to recognize them as free. All right? And they don't want them to be able to enjoy their constitutional rights. That's why this had to be put in there to say, look, man, look, they're born here. And the thing is, they're not illegal immigrants. They were illegally migrated here. They didn't come here on their own volition. Okay, they were sold by other Africans, black Africans, Arab Africans, you know, on the African continent anyway. Muslims and all that sort of stuff, they were already enslaved there. White folks were just new customers. All right. And they were brought here against their will and put to slave labor. That's totally different. You cannot apply that to people coming here illegally, willingly. These people are willingly coming here and breaking the law. The Democrats broke the law by insisting on having slaves. Slavery is against the law. It's always been against the law. But you have people who wanted to try to make it lawful, and Democrats tried to fight to keep it lawful, quote unquote. Okay, so this amendment was made. It's like, no, man, you can't do that. If these freed slaves, they're citizens just like the rest of us. If they have children here, then you can't be like treating their children like they don't have rights. Okay, that was for that. This is totally different that the left is trying to apply this to. If you come here illegally, you do not get to enjoy your baby having these rights as being a citizen. They're not a citizen because you didn't have them here lawfully. When we're talking about all persons, it's supposed to be a given that all persons who have been here legally in the first place. All right. So once again, you know, you got these people. The black community should be insulted by this, totally insulted by this. That you can say, no, man, this is a totally different dynamic. Our ancestors were brought here against their will. These people are willingly coming into our country illegally and expecting to enjoy these same rights. And it's getting in our way. Okay, but like I said, Democrats, they're right there. They're right there when they're at a young age with their conditioning. So, you know, and it's not like, you know, Republicans are really helping to do anything about it. You know, because a lot of times Republicans are the ones that unwittingly helping the Democrats do what they do. The Democrats get more help from Republicans to do what they do than anybody else.
Yeah, the only argument I've heard is that the 14th Amendment was for slavery, to handle post-slavery when, you know, we had to decide that they were citizens, and if you're born here, yes, you are a citizen. It does not pertain to anything else. That's only what I hear from Republicans.
Yeah. And it'd be great if they'd be like, look, let's look at the opinions on it. How about this? The citizenship provisions of the 14th Amendment may be seen as a repudiation of one of the more politically divisive cases of the 19th century. Under common law, free persons born within a state or nation were citizens thereof. In the Dred Scott decision, y'all remember that one? In the Dred Scott decision case, however, Chief Justice Roger Taney, writing for the court, ruled that this rule did not apply to freed slaves. The court held that United States citizenship was enjoyed by only two classes of people: white persons born in the United States as descendants of persons who were at the time of the adoption of the Constitution recognized as citizens in the several states, and who became also citizens of this new political body, the United States of America. And two, those who have been born outside the dominions of the United States, have migrated thereto and been naturalized therein. Freed slaves fell into neither of these categories.
Yeah.
Okay, Chief Justice Roger Taney, by the way, was a Democrat. So, whatever. Like I said, Republicans just make it really easy for people to think that the parties have switched sides. That's why Republicans have such a hard time, because Republicans have basically just allowed the stain of all the bigotry that Democrats have done to be wiped on them.
Yeah,
and make it easy,
Do you think the Constitution should be amended so that, we've got in California, there was a huge problem with Chinese women coming over, and they would rent huge houses, and just a whole bunch of Chinese women would just have their pregnancies in these houses, and they'd have their babies here. It's still going on there.
Yeah, and see, the thing that's why Trump, y'all, you have to put the brakes on it, because this is an abuse of the 14th Amendment.
Yeah.
You gotta understand, it's an abuse of it. And it's funny because Democrats didn't like Chinese either. Democrats didn't like it that the Chinese was coming here. That's why they put in that Anti-Coolie Act. They didn't like them. So they wanted them jobs for white folks. That's stated. And the Democrat Party, that's why they got involved with the unions. To make sure that white folks got them jobs first. That's what they wanted. Right? So the unions, even they said making their pledges to make sure that white folks got them jobs first. That's why you had people wearing them red scarves. And what do we got today? We got all the Republicans out there all have such an affection for rednecks. That's right. I'm a redneck, American, patriotic, and all that sort of. A redneck is not a person with a farmer tan. Okay, that's not what a redneck is. I mean, yeah, you could say that if you want to, but I mean, once again, that's just you looking for your own truth. Okay, rednecks, y'all. Rednecks were these laborers who put on a red scarf, like Jimmy Carter used to wear.
Yes.
He's an actual redneck. All right, and he's a Democrat, ain't he? Because that's what the redneck insignia was for. We are pledging our vote to the Democrat Party to make sure that labor force is stocked with white folks before you give it to any of them foreigners or any of them Negroes. That's what it was about. While Republicans are, that's right, redneck patriotism. They make it so easy, man.
Yeah.
They make it so easy. But what do I know?
So it's theorized that Trump did this executive order, and he knows that it's going to be challenged, and he's counting on it, at least a decision. He's counting on it going to the Supreme Court.
Well, I guess as long as he's got a majority in the Supreme Court to, maybe, we got anybody looking to retire? Surely we've got to have some people in there. I mean, come on, man. The Democrats in there, according to the Constitution, it's bad behavior. Yeah. Okay, they can be impeached for bad behavior. And considering the things that the rulings that they give or the opinions that they have concerning stuff, is like, yeah, I'd call that bad behavior, man. It's just bad for the nation. They need to be booted out and have a sane person appointed in there, and then maybe we could have a majority on that and get that done that way.
It's rumored that Sotomayor has a lot of health problems, and they were begging her to resign under Biden so he could replace her, but she did not. Well,
I pray she receives the Lord's peace and truth.
Yeah.
sucks that anybody is, gets, too sick to do their job anymore. But then again, she's not doing her job. I mean, she's doing her job. She's doing what she thinks is her job.
That's true.
All right. And we don't want her to do her job.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, a lot of Republicans out there, they need to do their job. You don't want them to do their job. You don't want them to do what they think their job is, y'all. Okay. Let's see. How about this one? Many J6 hostages still not being released from woke DC jail. No surprise there. And is this going to be an instance of where a Trump now? And I don't want to be all like, hey, yeah, let's do this, and because some people can really get hurt in doing so, and these people are already getting hurt. And I didn't I caution about this or like express concern about this like a while ago? It's like, man. I hope that these people, live to be able to receive their pardon. I hope they live to, or are not basically tortured, before they get there.
Yeah.
And I mean, their time there has been torturous as it is, y'all. Mm-hmm. And I'm praying, in Yeshua's name. I hope that they're able to get released and get that recompense, heck, man, even like at this point, retribution, because right. If they are hostages. I mean, it's hostages. Would hostage be like kind of used a little loosely here? Because it's not like there's a ransom for them, for what would they let them out? What are they going to trade? You see what I'm saying? I mean, I guess if we're considering the traditional, use of the word hostage, I mean, if anything, they're illegally detained.
Yeah, political prisoners.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yes, thank you. They are. They're political prisoners. And like I said, in a hostage situation, I guess there's something to trade. And Trump is known as a negotiator, and I don't think they're asking to negotiate with him. Right? So, but I guess maybe for rhetoric's sake, I guess you could call them hostages, but they're definitely being illegally detained, and without, any sort of ransom or demands or anything like that. All that to say, y'all, are those people going to have to be extracted, if you will? What do you think? Is that what it's going to take?
It might.
It's like just have a stealth team. I mean, and I say stealth team, man, because it's like you don't necessarily want to give like a deadline or something like that. It's like, look, at this time, if you don't let these people out, we're going to come in and get them. Well, I mean, these people could probably be ready to harm the people. Say, well, if you try to come in here and get them, then these people, it's like when we're talking about Democrats, man, they're crazy enough to do that. So is it going to have to be like just a black op? We're going to go in and we're going to get them. And anybody who tries to stop us or anybody who's serving to keep them in there against their will, then they're bad for them, right? Yeah. It's just bad for them. What do you guys think? Is that how it's going to go? Do you think there's a deadline that's going to be set by Trump? Say, look, man, release them by such and such a time, or these are going to be the ramifications, or whichever.
Jay said it looks like a fraction of something he wrote earlier, but I'll read it. He said, and that since the majority have not been to a trial, the pardon doesn't apply.
Okay, now that was that's looks like we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next article. I guess we can kind of tie that in. Where was it? This DA wants to bring state charges against the January 6 prisoners. So if they're pardoned, then I guess what this person is going to bring new charges. You can't bring charges against somebody who's already been pardoned.
Right. People are proposing, well, that would be double jeopardy, but this DA is in, is it Pennsylvania, did it say?
No.
Philadelphia, one of those states. Well, Philadelphia is
And
not
did we
it's a
get like
city.
some clarification of how this double jeopardy is going to work? Like, say, for instance, on the other end of it, you got Biden who gave this blanket pardon, but they weren't. Where was the formal indictment, and where was any sort of hearing on it?
Yeah, it's Philadelphia district.
Okay.
People are saying that to him, but he will do his best to find loopholes. And
Sure.
it says 2 or 3 things in this article that he's going to try to bring against them. Oh, here they are. Supporters over a minor riot 4 years ago, including statutes related to the misuse of technology for criminal activities. Don't know how that applies. State conspiracy laws and election-related offenses. That's what he's trying to rig so that he can jail these January 6ers, at least in his state, when they get out.
So he wants. So is this a case of they're trying to just keep them in there? He's looking for ways to keep them in there, or is it a case of they're going to get released, but he's going to have them subpoenaed or have a
Exactly, they're going to get released, and he's going to go after them
So
in his own state.
all right, it is, y'all. Once again, that's kind of like that's a little bit how Democrats were about slavery. Okay, you could be a freed slave, right? Even though you're freed and legal, Democrats didn't want to recognize it, and they would, what's that law called that they really wanted to take advantage of? Fugitive slave laws, right? So any black person that they saw walking around and stuff like that, they didn't recognize as a free person. Like, nope, you're not supposed to be walking around free. That's against the law and all that sort of stuff, right? You're under arrest, and we're going to make sure that you get, go back to your rightful owner and all that sort of stuff. That's where Rutherford B. Hayes, he would grant his services, his legal services pro bono to freed slaves to be like, to tell Democrats like, dude, you can't do that. Right? You can't do that. So, but it just goes to show you that Democrats, they don't know when to stop. They don't know when to stop, man. And here they are. This person is going to keep after these people. And personally, I think that this person needs to be indicted because this person he's already admitted that he's going to be harassing people and trying to deprive people of their rights, their right to pursue happiness, their right to be free. And there was no due process in the first place. The writ of habeas corpus was suspended to them by Biden. All right, and they weren't even exercising. They were just exercising their constitutional right. They weren't doing what the Democrats of the Confederacy were doing, being actual rebels. They weren't doing that. So this person, this attorney, is breaking the law. And he's the one who needs to be arrested.
Yeah.
So, Trump's State Department tells embassies and outposts, fly stars and stripes, no more pride or BLM flags. Whenever I say BLM flags, I have to be really, really careful when I say that because I keep wanting to say BLM, something else that rhymes with flags. But that's well, okay. That's good to know. Man, I mean, because, Trump has been kind of wishy-washy about this whole, transgender. And I mean, he hosted a gay wedding at Mar-a-Lago. So it's like, dude, where are you standing on this, man? You're making things difficult. It's mixed messages. All right? Be solid as far as this goes. And but this is good, man. It's like fly to stars and straight. Because we're going to talk about unity. That would be a better way to go. These people, no more pride. And that reminds me of, that witch, the so-called bishop, talking about unity. It's like, and humility. You want to talk about humility while you're pandering to people whose whole narrative is pride.
Yeah.
Right? They got Pride Month, they got pride flags, they got all this paraphernalia and stuff like that. You're talking about humility. No, you're pandering to people who are just totally given over to pride. And so right here, this whole, it's totally divisive. These perverts they're divisive in themselves and for the wrong reasons. And BLM, totally divisive. Okay, if we want to be unified, then we just need to go ahead and wave stars and stripes. So that's good. What else we got here?
Stephen J. said that Trump can and will probably send U.S. Marshals into the jail to remove the prisoners.
Yeah, I'm hoping that will be done.
Me too.
Yeah, it's like, do it now, man. Well, I mean, hopefully it'll be expeditious.
Yeah, and also Trump promised he would free those people who have been rotting in jail for praying outside of abortion clinics.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Hopefully he'll be doing that tomorrow or sometime this week.
Hey, praise be to God, man. That's good. That's good news. Let's see. Yeah, it's like, send marshals or, send a fire team in there if you got to, man. You can get these people out of there.
Yes.
Let's see. U.S. departs from the World Health Organization, cutting off a predatory global oligarchy that has destroyed public health for billions. Okay, this is coming from Natural News. Let's check a little bit of this out, y'all. Come on, yeah, get to the thing. The United States has officially begun its withdrawal from the World Health Organization. Who are you? Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay, marking the significant shift in its approach to global health governance, President Donald Trump announced the decision on Monday, accusing the WHO of mishandling the COVID-19 pandemic and failing to act independently from the influence of member states, particularly China. World Health ripped us off. Everybody rips off the United States. It's not going to happen anymore. Trump said during the signing of the executive order, the move, which follows years of tension between the U.S. and the WHO, sets a 12-month notice period for the withdrawal to take effect. The WHO, which relies heavily on U.S. funding, contributing approximately 18% of its $6.8 billion budget, expressed regret over the decision.
I'll bet.
We hope that the United States will reconsider, and we really hope that there will be constructive dialogue for the benefit of everyone, for Americans, but also for people around the world. WHO spokesperson Tariq Jassarevi said. The U.S. departure threatens to disrupt critical WHO programs, including HPV, polio, and COVID-19 vaccine programs that are set to continue with seasonal boosters and vaccine campaigns that target various age groups. The departure from WHO could put a damper on contact tracing. Oh, well, that's good. Contact tracing programs. And y'all remember that? The contact tracing programs and mass PCR testing fraud, which is used to exploit populations and generate fundraising for future engineering public health crisis. Okay, so maybe I guess this right here might be as close as we're going to get to Trump admitting that he was wrong.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? I guess, when to leave well knows. Okay, Trump, I think you understand now that you warp speeding, getting the so-called vax out to the people. No. And that you were surrounded. It's like, look, man, you got your ability to kind of like vet people or is kind of scary, man, and the things that you went with, and you got that funding to get this, so-called vax into a lot of people. And as I've said before, the Democrats were more effective at getting you to do that than you were at getting Mexico to pay for that wall. So it's like I sometimes I see this talk and stuff like that, man. It's big talk, but it didn't pan out that way, and it cost a lot of people. All right.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe this is like maybe he's learning. It's like, okay, you know what? We're gonna nip this in the bud right here. We're gonna cut ties with you, and you're not doing this to us anymore. All right. So hopefully, I guess this I reckon this will be better than an apology anyway. All right.
Yeah, withdrawing us from the WHO?
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
much
better. All right. Right
I'm
on.
tired of my asthma medication, the price being doubled because they keep saying, well, it causes climate change, so now you have to pay $60 for a $20 inhaler.
Yeah, $60.
I am tired of that. It's because of the Paris Accord.
Higher price for lower quality.
Yeah.
You know, it's, and yeah, we see it, you know, and this stuff's got to stop. So yeah, this kind of move, I appreciate much more than Trump saying, yeah, I was wrong about that though. This is better.
Yeah. Plus, somebody made this excellent point. The fact that China and India are the #1 polluters, and the Paris Accord puts all the restraints on America and the West, but mostly America, saying you guys are the biggest polluters and you have to have all these regulations and restraints and fees on you. Yeah. But China and India can do whatever they want because they're still developing.
How long has that been? How long have they been pulling that stuff? As long as I've been doing this.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I've been doing this, man, well, hopefully, you know, like it's going to be a new day, a brand new day in America.
Amen.
Okay, what else we got here? And we'll go out on this one. We got Senate Democrats block legislation to save lives of babies who survive botched abortions. No surprise there. That's just where they've been. And we know that, you know, as far as abortion goes, we know it's always really been infanticide. You know, the practice of child sacrifice has not ended. It's been going on for thousands of years. Democrats are just, you know, and the left. They're with the same kind of ideology. You know, while they want to call us Christians, you know, these primitive or whatever, you know, archaic people who believe these ancient stuff. Y'all still practicing the ancient stuff. Y'all doing that.
Yep.
You know, so they want to block legislation to save lives. So I guess this totally goes against what you know, that bishop, you know, was talking about. I mean, if these people are all about, hey, if you're born here, you got rights. But you know, with Democrats, if they want, it's weird how they want to make sure that people have the right to come here illegally and have babies here. They're totally okay with that, right? But people who are here and they want to have an abortion, yeah, get rid of it. You know, kill it. And it's so strange that you know, when it comes to the unborn child, they don't want to recognize the rights, even though, you know, and they'll try to invoke the Constitution and all this other stuff. You know, the Constitution says, you know, we're created equal, not born equal, created. So upon your creation, you got rights. Okay. So these kids, they can be born and they still want to have them killed. We said that. It's like, you know, when they're trying to say that, you know, when they're in the womb, they don't have rights. Okay, well, what about when they're out? We've been talking about this for a while, and they just keep proving it. It's like, man, it's just all about, you guys have this thing about killing kids, man. You're satanic. You just want to kill kids because the kid has committed the crime of inconveniencing you. You know, and once again, you're a coward. You're a total coward. You act like you can take on the world and speak truth to power and all that sort of stuff, but you're terrified of a baby. You're a coward. Cowards will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Okay, so you're so afraid of a baby that you'll kill the kid. And even though you say that kids that are in the womb have no rights, well, the kid is outside the womb now. But the child was meant to be killed in the first place. It was supposed to be aborted, so we have to make sure we carry that out. I'm like, okay, you guys have made a loophole for yourself and whatnot. You're still wrong. You know, it's still the wrong thing to do. So there you go, folks. Democrats, you know, constantly showing their true colors. You know. And we have to make sure that you can't reason with these people. It's unreasonable. People who think like this and think this is okay, you can't reason with these kind of people. But, you know, what we can do is that, you know, once again, they're given over to their imaginations. I know you guys have heard this spiel before. Maybe somebody's new and they haven't heard it. Bear with me, right? But that's what it comes down to. Democrats are not reasonable people. They're given over to their imaginations. You dig? You have to imagine that the child in the womb has no rights. You have to imagine that the child in the womb is not really a person. Okay? You have to imagine that once the child is born, you have to imagine that you have to come up with a new set of rules. You have to imagine that that child doesn't really have rights, even though they've been born. That was your criteria in the first place. You said that a child in the womb has no rights. Okay, well, the child is out of the womb now.
Yeah.
The child's got rights. No, they don't. Well, you got to imagine that. You're imagining things. That child has rights. You see what I'm saying? Democrats have always been given over to their imagination. They imagine that America is a democracy. It's a republic. But they want it to be a democracy so they can vote away the rights given to us by God. They don't like God being the grantor of our rights. They want to be that.
Yes.
They want to be able to outvote that. That's why they want to be a democracy. So they're imagining things. They imagine that people who come here illegally are legal citizens. They imagine that the fruits of your labor should belong to somebody else to be redistributed. Everything about the Democrat Party is imagination land, y'all. And that's what we want to try to do. We want to try to connect with their imagination. Trying to reason with them, y'all, that's a losing game. You understand? It's a losing game. They're not reasonable people. They're not given over to reason. They're given over to imagination. So we need to make imaginative productions, y'all, to connect with them so we can convey the truth. All right? You're not going to connect with them by a conduit of reason alone. It ain't going to happen. All right? The connection has to come. It's like a computer, man. You can't just feed a file in there and expect it to read. You have to change how the file is going to be read by the program. If it's not the right file, the program is not going to read it. It can be a really good file. I don't care what it is. It ain't going to read it. All right? It's the same thing, man. So I hope, y'all that, you support. Thank you so much for y'all who are supporting. We're trying to grow our support. Appreciate your prayers that we can grow Bronze Serpent Media and get out there with some solid Bible-based conservative narratives that we can put out there in different kinds of media, different kind of genres, comedy, sci-fi, all sorts of stuff, man. And, and connect with an army of artists who want to be a part of it, and put out some stuff to compete in the culture, man. That's what we're trying to do.
Amen. So I want to mention this, what Caleb P. put in the chat, because it's good for everybody to know and kind of keep abreast of. And then we'll close with your musical challenge from Monday. Did you do your homework and look up the video?
Kinda.
I told you. He's looked it up, so we'll see. So Caleb P. says, between OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle CEO wants to use it to develop mRNA cancer vaccines. And what this is pertaining to is President Trump announced a new $500 billion Stargate AI venture from OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle on Tuesday. He promised it would ensure the future of technology in the U.S. So far, Wall Street appears to agree, with some analysts speculating about its potential to transform the tech industry. So, and Elon Musk is kind of on X picking at OpenAI because I think he started the company with the guy, and the guy who's running it now is not a great person. And Whitney Webb, I don't know if you know who that is, Caleb P. You guys probably know who she is. She was warning about these tech guys and what they ultimately want to do with their AI and control over our health and our bank accounts. And these are the guys who've been funding Trump. So while we like what Trump is doing and he's a lot better than Biden, there are some guys who really want control of the human population who have been funding Trump. And this Stargate AI venture is part of that. And Caleb is warning that the Oracle CEO, that's Peter Thiel, one of the big tech guy funders, he wants to use this technology to develop mRNA cancer vaccines. And we know that the mRNA technology is actually causing turbo cancer.
Turbo cancer.
Yeah.
Come on now.
So how's that going to work?
Yeah.
I guess that's the cure for the cause, right?
See, that's what I'm saying, man. When you see how these people are surrounded, who they surround themselves with or who they're affiliated with. Look, man, there's nobody's going to be perfect, and we got a better president in Donald Trump, to be sure. But if Republicans are, mainstream Republicans are always saying you got to hold their feet to the fire and stuff like that, well, that's what you got to do. It's like, we expect certain values to be upheld. And, you can't just be like, everything that he does is okay. It's like, we got to express our concerns, and thank you for bringing that to the table. These are things to be cautious of. I guess maybe the only thing that we can do is make sure that, I don't know, try not to give patronage to too much AI, material, to show that, hey man, this stuff isn't, well, I mean, we could try. A lot of people are giving over to it, and AI is that advent is just going off the chain. So it is what it is. I myself haven't really, I haven't incorporated it into my work, and trying to prayerfully consider, if there's a way that I could do it. I don't want to feed the monster. If it's effective and expedient to create some media with it, then sure. And just use it, to do what we can to promote the word of God. You just got to be careful that it's like not like a Lord of the Rings kind of thing. It's like, man, imagine what I could do with this power. I could do so much good, right? I don't want to fall into that trap. Thinking that we're going to be doing good while we're feeding the monster. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like that. So how do we do with the musical challenge?
Yes.
Is there another one, or are we just gonna try to?
No, the one that was regarding Laredos or Tony Lamas.
Okay. So, all right, and it is a musical challenge. So you hit me with a challenging one, and I'm probably gonna get a D on this one because I don't know. I don't know who Dee I think Dee James. I don't know who that is. And also Laredo. And the thing about Parliament Funkadelic, man, if that's who they're supposed to be affiliated with, and I don't know. I'm not sure if that's what if that's what I was supposed to come to the conclusion of. But yeah, they're not in that roster. And Parliament Funkadelic has had a lot of players. It's the mob. It's the Funkadelic mob, and I don't recall their names being in there. And I have a friend who was a touring drummer for Parliament Funkadelic, Barry Chenault. He was with Parliament Funkadelic, and but lots of players. Even with the rubber band, what's it called? Rubber band. I haven't heard of those cats. So. You got me. You got me on there. Maybe I don't know if they were like with them briefly, maybe so brief that their name just isn't connected with them, or which, or am I just way off base altogether?
I was looking it up again. It says I have 736 Bernie Worrell, Let Me Ride, Mothership Connection, and it lists. I don't want it to come on. It lists this Dee. What's his name? Dee James? Dee
James?
Yeah, as the rhythm.
Oh, so you found one. Okay,
yes.
So I guess maybe the question is what era of Parliament Funkadelic would I like better? Like, was it the time when Dee James was playing with him, or when Laredo was playing with him?
Oh, maybe that's, yeah.
So yeah, you got me. I couldn't give you an educated answer as far as that one goes, because I haven't. I pretty much, there's one version of the song that I play, and it's not Dr. Dre's version either. It's one version of the song that I already dig, and I honestly, man, I don't really know who did the studio version of that. I don't know if that would have been Dee or Laredo or another guitarist.
I told you, I said Tony Lamas, that's Cowboy Boots as far as I know. I don't know who the musician Tony Lamas is. He says Laredos and Tony Lamas are Cowboy Boots.
I knew it. Yeah, you got me good, man. You stumped me good with them boots.
I think they might be a little too showy for Zoe. Don't think he'd sport some Tony Lamas. I would though.
Now, where does the Dee James come in?
He's not the rhythm. He's the lead guitar on this song, "Let Me Ride."
Okay, and now
Mothership Connection.
I've seen Dee James. I like in trying to dig for it, but like looking in the roster, like the studio musicians or played with him. I haven't seen his name come up. You were better at finding it than I am, or finding the connection. So, those are boots. Okay. Now what are the boots? How are the boots factoring into this? Like which boots would I prefer to wear? Like, because I mean, you know, they wear some pretty funky clothes in Parliament.
Because D.D. James played his guitar on stage with cowboy boots. So we'll have to check it out. I pulled the video up.
So which boots should he wear? Like the Laredos or Tony Lamas?
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with Laredos. I'm very familiar with Tony Lamas. So
I was gonna say, well, if you're gonna wear some boots, wear some Doc Martens. No, but
that's more your speed.
Yeah, used to be. They're all.
Are they woke?
Oh heck yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You know, I'd be walking past them Doc Martens, still be like, man, I miss having a pair of Docs, man. Used to wear those back in the day, but I can't get myself to.
Them.
Yeah. Thank you, baby. I'm like one of the only persons who would get away wearing Doc Martens and bell bottoms.
Yes.
That's how I roll. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the Zoloft. BronzeSerpentMedia.com, y'all. I hope you guys will come on over to the website and become a member if you haven't already. Drop that buck in the bucket if you want to keep your bro Zo on the go. Let me see something really quick. Hey, I think Instagram might even still be rolling.
Really?
Thank you guys for tuning in on the Instagrams. I see KViz009, and I'm glad we caught up, man. We got Variable EQ. Brian Lyman's stopped in. Right on. Bo Boher. Beth Ellen just stopped in. Right on. Thank you guys so much. Well, we're getting ready to sign off now. But hey, you can always stay tuned with us at BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Remember, drop that buck in the bucket. If you want to keep your bro Zo on the go, right? Got to keep these lights on, y'all. All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a groovy rest of your week. We'll do it again in the next one. All right, now. Bye.